Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for iFive for the iPhone is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of iFive for the iPhone is brought to you by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, and other Apple products are worth at Gazelle.com. Oh, sup, y'all? Welcome to iFive for the iPhone, the best 10-minute show on the internet. I should know, unless you have a BlackBerry. It's okay, I had a BlackBerry too once. I'm Sarah Lane, and this is the show where we pick the 5 best iPhone apps, news, tips, and tricks, and everybody wins and lives happily ever after. And let's start with number 1. It's been a while since we had a really solid photography app here on iFive. You've all been crying and whining and begging for it. It all changes today. I've downloaded an app called Oggl, that's O-G-G-L, that has renewed my belief that the iPhone is really just a kick-ass photography device that happens to do a lot of other things. Oggl comes from the makers of Hipstamatic, another app I've loved for years, but here's where it's different. Unlike Hipstamatic, which is all about virtual film and lenses that's supposed to mimic actual old-school film photography, Oggl lets you swap out film and lenses after you take the photo, so nice post-processing. You can mix and match to get a ton of different versions of the same photo. Once you're happy with your creation, you can give it a caption, add location info, share it with the Oggl community, and so forth. You can also share to other social networks like Facebook or Foursquare, to your Flickr feed, even to Instagram. Oggl's brand new, and I've gotten some crashes here and there, but the app experience itself is solid. There's a great UI here. What's cool is that if you see somebody else's photo in your stream, anybody at all, and you really like the photo, you can take their film and lens combination and apply it to your next photo, and then even save that as a preset, like a favorite for your future pics, which takes a lot of the guesswork out of loving someone's picture somewhere on the internet and wondering how they got it to look that way. Now, Oggl's free, and it does come with some free film and lenses built in, though in order to access the entire collection, you have to become a member. So I paid $9.99 for a year-long membership because I know that I'm going to use Oggl constantly. So for me, the price is worth it in spades. You're gonna have to figure out if it's worth it for you, though. I do think the UI will confuse some people, though. People who are used to a really simple experience like Instagram. Oggl is part photo taking, part post-processing, part curation, part social network, and the experience is not effortless. You have to navigate a bit before all the features start to make sense. That said, it's an absolute must for those of us who have bet on our iPhones as the future of photography. Number 2, got an email from Mike, who has a little tip for the native iOS Mail app. He writes, if you have the archive option chosen in the Mail.app preferences, you can still delete messages in the app. Just press and hold the archive button, and a contextual menu pops open with a choice to delete the message. Now, at first I was confused because Mike's tip doesn't actually work in the message list view. It does work in the message itself, though. So you just press and hold the archive icon, and presto! You have the option to archive or then delete the email. Although, let's go back to the list view for a second. You do have the option to swipe to the right to either archive a message or delete a message without clicking into it. Did you know this? You choose which you prefer in the email settings. If you'd rather just have a delete option, that's the one I like, turn off archive messages. Number 3, so confession. Sometimes I sit and I think about what I'm going to do with my life when this whole tech thing stops working out. I have lots of ideas, lots of them, but are any of them actually doable? Could I live on them? Could I buy a double-wide trailer with the money? A free app called Elevatr can help me figure it out. So you give your dream project a name, then you just start fleshing it out with Elevatr's preloaded categories. So like, what's the industry problem? Do you have a good solution? What are you trying to solve? Who's your target market? Do you think you can make money? What does your product even look like? All these questions, they seem pretty obvious on their own, but together are a really good starting point to look at your next big thing as more than just a really, really brilliant concept. Elevatr isn't going to solve bad ideas for you, but it is a nice little exercise. And hey, if you really do have an idea for the next Facebook, you better get a handle on your future challenges now so you can roll in a bathtub of Benjamins later. This episode of iFive for the iPhone is brought to you by Gazelle. Do you want the latest iPhone or iPad or Mac? Are you thinking about switching to the Samsung Galaxy S4? Better not watching this show. But before you upgrade to whatever device you're interested in, make sure you sell your used phone or gadget you no longer need to Gazelle for cash. You can find out how much you can get at Gazelle.com today. Here's what you do. Go to Gazelle.com, that's Gazelle.com, and find your item. Then you tell Gazelle the condition that your item's in. Don't worry if it's beat up, because they even buy broken iPhones and iPads. And then you get a risk-free offer for your gadgets. That offer is locked in for 30 days. And then you can get paid fast by check, by PayPal. You get an extra 5% with an Amazon gift card. Go to Gazelle now to get an offer for that iPhone, an Android phone, an iPad, or other products. But do it today, because your gadgets may lose value every day that you wait. Again, with Gazelle, you get paid in cash, payment is fast, it's risk-free, and those offers are good for 30 days. Gazelle will also wipe your data for free. That's kind of helpful if you're a paranoid type. So, what's your iPhone or iPad or Samsung device worth? Take a minute and go to Gazelle.com to find out. Sell your used iPhone and Apple products today at Gazelle.com. Number 4. Jason from the Philippines wrote in with a little tip for us wordsmiths. He writes, when I have to look up the meaning of a word, I used to just go into the messaging app and then type the word and then highlight and then click define. But this was a little bit tedious, so I downloaded dictionary apps. But again, it takes the same amount of effort to open the app and type in the word and then hit search. A faster way of looking up word definitions is just to use the Spotlight search in iOS, which brings up Safari, and the first hit is a dictionary definition. Okay, I get what you're doing. This is a nice dictionary shortcut, thank you, Jason. Although, it doesn't really work if the word that you type out is a word that ends up coming up anywhere else on your iPhone, like maybe in an SMS or an email thread. Unless, of course, you turned off Spotlight search on all of these services and apps, which you can do. But then Spotlight search would be kind of just a dictionary lookup and not much of a search at all. I don't know. I'm not the boss of you. You guys do what you feel is right. Finally, number 5. If it's okay with all of you, I'd like to end on a beer note. That's right, I said beer because it's always 11 a.m. somewhere. Allow me to introduce you to Beer Hunt, a game for beer lovers. Here's how it works. You log your favorite beers when you drink them. Pretty easy. This is not for just like wimpy, cheapo, gross beer drinkers either. This is for serious beer drinkers because you earn bonus points for unique craft beers. Aha! Beer snobs. I like it already. In fact, I love it. You can also compete with your friends. You can get a sense of the kinds of beers that they're enjoying and get ideas from them. So there's a fun little competition element as well. You can also view your personal Drinkographic, which is a visual display of your beer drinking history. You can keep a running total of your monthly intake, and the app even identifies your personal beer o'clock, which is the average time of day that you usually drink your beer. You can also invite other beer enthusiasts to see who drinks what over the course of a given month. Now, goes without saying that being a beer enthusiast and connoisseur does not mean being an out-of-control beer jerk. So I'm passing this app along for all my responsible beer drinking friends who are of age. Also, Beer Hunt isn't perfect. I've done a little navigating, and anybody who really does pride themselves on the latest and greatest beers from smaller breweries will notice that Beer Hunt's database has some growing to do yet. But still, beer. Install and enjoy a frothy beer game on me. I'm sorry, but that's it for this episode of iFive. If you'd like to automatically download this show every week, and why wouldn't you, just hit the subscribe button at twit.tv/iFive. That's where you can catch up on past episodes and find links to our featured apps, tips, and tricks too. Email us at iFive@twit.tv, leave us a voicemail at 614-on-iFive, or send us a video with an app review of your own. I'm Sarah Lane, and I'll see you next week on iFive for the iPhone.